This video is for business leaders who want to increase their organizational health, culture, and bottom line. So this is actually part 2 of a 2-part book review from the book. So this is officially Crush It Club 191, Watch the Advantage Book Review, part 2. This took longer than I expected it to take, and I have a hard limit of 10 minutes for a number of reasons. In any case, we're going to continue on. So where we last left off on Crush It Club 190, the start, part 1 of this review was discipline 2 was create clarity to achieve unambiguous alignment. This is within the leadership team, the management team. So this comes down to 6 crucial questions, which you'll see, and he refers back to as being either related to or inspired by. That part is not so clear. Jim Collins and his work, especially in Good to Great. So number 1 is, I'm just going to overview these and not really go into the details too much. You need to answer these questions for the management team, and you have to be on the same page. Why do we exist? And this could be to make money, but that is actually a rare purpose for most companies. There's something bigger and more profound and more important than that. The next one is, what do we do? The following one is, how will we succeed? That gives you a criteria for knowing. How do you know if you're succeeding if you don't know what succeeding looks like? Now, that metric could be quantitative, but it's more likely to be qualitative. That is, to increase something, to improve something like that. And what is most important right now? And this is much more tactical or strategic. And within a time frame, I believe he says 3 months to 1 year. So that would be what Jim Collins would be analogous to Jim Collins' mission. What are we doing right now? What actions do we need to take? And what does success look like based on our shorter term goals, not our longer term vision? And last one is, who must do it? Who is responsible for the actual execution of the things? So it goes sort of from the most philosophical, most philosophical down to the most tactical and action oriented. So we're just going to keep going. The time, unfortunately, is less than I wish it was. I just recommend the book, bottom line. Read the whole damn thing. It's not that long, or listen to it. It's about 5 hours. So it's actually a short book, but it's very, very good. And it was a gem that came out of the Audible Plus membership. So if you have access, which is like $7.95 a month or something, you can read as many or listen to as many books as you want for that within that library. So the next thing he talked about was perfection paralysis, which I think honestly is kind of complete bullshit. I think this is management's excuse not to actually take action and to get to feel good about planning and making everything perfect without having to take any responsibility for results or action. That's my personal take, not the book's. And he basically puts it this way. He says, in reality, companies make the best decisions they can, given the information they have at the time they made those decisions. I completely agree with that. He talks about how in the press, when people talk about as a narrative fallacy, God forbid I would be quoting Nicholas Nassim Taleb. I honestly hate that guy's stuff for the most part, but I agree with this point, and I also agree with it because Kahneman said it, which gives it a lot more credibility in my mind. And that is, we look at stuff retroactively, and we, from that 2020 hindsight point of view, think very confidently that we could have predicted it, when in reality we cannot. So this is what I mean by the narrative fallacy as I'm using it now. So the narrative fallacy of when people write articles and that, they go, well, here's the one thing they did, or here's the 2 people and 1 action that really made this work, when there's no way to actually know that except after the fact, when we know the results, and that would never have been useful previous to that. And we don't even know then whether that was the only causal factor, because there's just too much complexity to make that identifiable without, there's just too much beyond our sort of control and or knowledge to allow that to happen. So now The next one is related to the last one, and that is over-communicate clarity. So the previous one, discipline 2, was answering all those questions clearly, unambiguously, so everyone on the management team knows the answers to those questions. And if you're not following or moving in the direction of manifesting those answers, for lack of a better word, then you're not on track. It makes it very clear as to what actions to take. It gives you, let's call it a decision direction. Is it moving us closer to those answering those 6 questions? If not, don't do it. If yes, do it. So discipline 3 is to over-communicate clarity. And my suggestion about how to do this, and this is mine personally, not the author's, but it's really powerful because this helps people answer their own questions. And while people can keep each other accountable, which is coming up, it helps you do this. And that is to say, how do help us achieve, and then that is a question to any example of from those, any of those 6 answers. So I'm going to give you an example. Is like my how we behave answer, according to the questions I just cited, those 6 is, we help leaders do what they do best, even better, ethically and scientifically. So then the question becomes something like this: how does The Secret help leaders do what they do best, even better, ethically and scientifically? And given my example, the short answer is it doesn't, because The Secret is neither ethical, because it's not real and it doesn't work, it's a lie, and because it's completely pseudoscientific, and because I know that it doesn't work and I know that it's pseudoscientific, it violates both of my answers, and therefore would be something I would not act on. I would not promote the idea of The Secret, that book full of nonsense that so many people, including myself, bought into. I would not use that because it's unethical, because I know it doesn't work. And I also know it's not scientific. Therefore, that would be a way to do it. So you ask a question of your team. If they do something, one of the ways you can hold them accountable is ask them the question: how does this answer or move us closer to that? So that's a super powerful way to do it, but my own suggestion, I'll take credit for it. The next one is leaders should spread, and I love this, true rumors that are completely consistent throughout. So instead of spreading rumors, which is a very efficient way to get information out, and they talk about what they call cascading communication. That is, it starts at the top and everybody tells everybody below them, but they tell them the exact same message, which came from the top from answering those questions. So it trickles down to be entirely aligned. So then the next one is discipline 4, reinforce clarity. This is about walking the talk. Policies, actions, words throughout the organization have to be completely or to align completely, and some or all of the employees will see company leadership as hypocritical or incompetent, hypocritical at best and incompetent at worst, or vice versa. I would say actually hypocritical at worst and incompetent at best to achieving their own goals as stated from the various answers of those critical questions, unless they're actually supporting it with their policies, their actions, and their words. And then finally, I have one more thing that just fits in here, and that is the 4 meetings. The daily check-in is 5 to 10 minutes. I can absolutely attest from personal experience that this is the way to go. If you don't have a daily meeting, you are inviting trouble and problems that you could have avoided by a short daily meeting. The next one is the weekly staff meeting, 45 to 90 minutes, which is tactical subjects. The third type of meeting is the ad hoc topical meeting, which is 2 to 4 hours and strategic, but less often. And the quarterly offsite 1 to 2 day meeting, which is leadership development focused. That's all I have time for, but it got all the critical things in. So this has been Crush It Club 191. Watch the Advantage book review. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.